Alright, welcome back to the practice section for all the lessons of topic 1. So I'll be kind of going over a way to do some of these problems without the fraction pieces. You can continue to use those, especially if you're watching this video in class, just to verify your results. But yes, that question did come up. If I don't have fraction pieces, Mrs. A, how am I supposed to work out some of these problems? So here it's asking us how many 1/8 pieces are in 1/4. So you'll notice 1/4 is a unit fraction. So that means that our first equation is going to be kind of like 1/4 equals 1/4. Now, in order to find out how many 1/8 pieces are in 1/4, they give us this kind of a proportion or fraction equaling another fraction. So 4 times what number would get you 8? Would it be 4 times 1, 4 times 2, or 4 times 3? 4 times 2, right? So I could do 1 times 2, and what will 1 times 2 be? 2. Notice how I'm multiplying by the same number to both the numerator and denominator. So that means I would have 1/8 plus 1/8, since there's 2 of them, would equal 2/8. Alright, I'll do one more and then I'll let you do the rest on the page yourselves. So again, how many 1/16 pieces, which is a unit fraction, are in 2/8? So I'm going to start with that one first. That's 1/8 plus 1/8 equals 2/8. Notice how I used 2 of these since there were 2. So if that had been 3, I would have drawn out 3. 4, I would have drawn out 4, and you get the idea. Now for 1/16, again, 8 times, sorry about that, 8 times what gets you 16? Would that be 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, or 8 times 4? 8 times 2, so that would be 2 times 2, which is what? 4. So that's 1/16 plus 1/16 plus 1/16 plus 1/16, which is 4/16. Alright, feel free to do a couple of these on your own. And I realize you can't see that, but there's number 4 and number 3. So make sure you're doing both. Alright, so moving on to reordering fractions. You'll see they just give us pictures and not really much direction on what to do. So I would start by just organizing these so that like fractions are together. No in particular order, but I'll start with 1/8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll draw down 4 of these. 2, 3, 4. And since I have C1/16 next, I'll do 1/16, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is very popular today. Alright, and that last fraction, which is 1/4, which is equal to 1 whole, so I can combine like fractions. And, well, I know there's only one of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, which is equal to 1. So essentially that's all you're doing. You're writing down the unit fractions so that the fractions that are alike are together, and then combining like fractions. You're doing that for numbers 1 and 2, and so make sure you're doing those for 3 and 4 as well. Moving on to lesson 3 of topic 1, where we're comparing fractions. So here again, if you don't want to have to make fraction pieces all the time, here's another way you can do to compare fractions that have unlike denominators, like that's 16 and that's 8, and those are in fact different denominators. We can actually use equivalent fractions. That was one of our words. Equivalent and fraction was another word. So by changing this 1/8 fraction into a 16th, the way we can do that is if I want to make this a 16th, 8 times what makes 16? 8 times 1, 8 times 2, or 8 times 3? 8 times 2, which means 3 times 2 would be 6. So, are they the same? Is this one less than this one, or is this one greater than this one? And by that one, I mean fractions. So that would be equal. We could do the same thing here. So 3/4 and 6/8, again, both are different denominators. We can change that 4 into an 8. So that would be 4 times what gets us 8? 4 times 1, 4 times 2, or 4 times 3? 4 times 2, which means if I multiply those two together, that would be what? 6. Now, I promise that it didn't, that's not always going to be the case, so just in case you're wondering, oh, they're all the same. They might not be, so try the rest out. But in this case, they are equal. But like I said, make sure to try that out for numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 7 and 8. And then make sure that you are doing software. So when you do software for topic 1, it's important that you'll see that there's a couple of different zones. There's the Learn zone, and then there's the Fast Track. So Fast Track is kind of if you want to skip the Learn zone, just know that you only get one attempt at doing that. So some students are kind of eager and they're like, I want to try the Fast Track, and then they get a few wrong and then they get booted back to Learn zone. Know that if you start in Learn zone, it will kind of indicate like, hey, let's try the Fast Track. It seems like you're really understanding this concept. Let's go ahead and try it out. But you can always spend time. At some point, you will be booted out of the Learn zone saying, hey, let's try the Fast Track. There is also a success zone that you'll have to complete before you can move on to the next topic. And that's kind of where your software percentage kind of lies. So if you need help, please ask your teacher to help you out. Please make sure you're using all the materials. Make sure you're writing any problems. You'll be solving a bunch of problems in each of the topics, but for this particular topic, make sure you're writing a couple problems on the Fast Track zone as a kind of a paper copy of the questions you'll be asked. And then there's an exit ticket for this topic. So it says find the error and fix them. So here's a picture, 1/16, 1/16, 1/2, and the rest, and they write it out, right? It kind of seems to be matching for the most part. And then here's their response, right? So see what error you can find. Maybe they're missing a fraction in the equation. Maybe they wrote something incorrectly. Maybe they combined unlike fractions. So take a look at that and see what errors you would find and how you would fix them. We'll see you back here for topic 2's video.